What up, everybody? This is Zafa, Slater. And I'm here at basically a little hideout, waiting for that coward Jax to make his appearance, but we'll see. Anyways, on my search for Zeta, I will find her soon. I like to talk about one of my favorite series, Dune. Dune is a wonderful set written by Frank Herbert, carried on by his son, Brian and Kevin J. Anderson. Now these books have everything. Touch of religion, sci-fi, romance, prediction, war, drama. They're actually a pretty good read. Now Dune has made 3 movies so far. One in 84, one in 1999, and recently, a few years back, they made part 1. And well, they made part 1 and they're doing part 2. You see, I protested that because the Sci-Fi Channel, the good people at the Sci-Fi Channel, when they made it, they made a long 4-hour movie. There's actually a deluxe European 6-hour version of it. It's covered the entire span of the book. Of course, they left a few things out, but a wonderful book. They also did part 2 and part 3, which was kind of nice because I hate it when they start something, a book series, and then they just remake part 1. It's a little horrible. Anyways, the story Dune, and we'll just cover part 1. We'll do broad strokes. Is about a man and a woman, Duke Leto Atreides and Jessica. Now, the lady Jessica. Duke Leto Atreides has a planet called Caladan. Caladan is this beautiful planet, mostly islands and water. They rule by sea and air. The lady Jessica is a Bene Gesserit. Bene Gesserits have certain powers. They can control their body. Actually, when they have sex, they can decide the sex of the child. They're immune to poisons. They have reflexes that allow them to be faster. They have a myriad of powers. And they're usually assigned to royalty, to be married to them. Now, the Bene Gesserit have a rule, and this comes into play. You're never supposed to fall in love. You have love for the sisterhood first. And then, by chance, if you love your husband or wife, whatever situation, you do, but you serve the Bene Gesserit first. Now, the Bene Gesserit, for almost thousands of years, says they have powers of prediction. They're supposed to bring forth the Kwisatz Haderach. The Kwisatz Haderach is the one with perfect vision. You see, the Bene Gesserit can see bits and pieces of the future through this substance called spice. This blue substance. Eating it, smoking it, whatever, it will give you vision, longer life. It gives you awareness. So this spice is pretty damn valuable. But there's a caveat to it. The spice only exists on one planet, Arrakis. And this planet is basically a desert planet where really nothing grows. And to make it even better, to make the deal even sweeter, there's these giant sandworms over 10 miles long, some of them. They produce the spice. From their fertilized young, it blows up, and yeah, you can see the spice sprinkled out. Now, the spice comes out like cinnamon. And eventually, the way the desert people make it, vermin, it turns blue after a while. It makes your eyes blue from using it. Highly addictive. Like I said, ultra valuable. But mining it is one of the most dangerous, and I do mean dangerous, processes ever, because those worms are actually pretty protective of it, because you're raiding the top part of their nest. So, this spice, the most valuable substance in the universe, the Bene Gesserit needed for their vision, their abilities. The guild navigators, basically these mutated humans, they guide the ships from universe to universe. You see, certain machines are outlawed because they had this big war with living machines and humans that transfer their brains into the machine. Like I said, it's a wonderful book. So you can't use guidance systems. So these navigators live in a pool that spies a tank. They can't leave. Ever. So they end up living there, and they're valuable. You see, the Spacing Guild actually rules that one. See, there's certain political factions, the royalty, Lanceland. I might have gotten that wrong, certain pronunciations. Anyways, the Spacing Guild, the Bene Gesserit, and the Bene Telaxi. Now, the Bene Telaxi actually use cloning. They make a race called the Face Dancers. The Face Dancers basically shift faces after they take over and kill someone. Personalities, too, in some cases. So all these political factions are fighting over the spice. So the houses decreed that every 50 to 100 years, depending on how they run the show, there'll always be a house in charge. Now, in Dune, the Atreides have an enemy, the Harkonnen. The Harkonnen are the exact opposite of the Atreides. Where the Atreides are honorable and basically keep to their word. The Harkonnen, not so much. They rule a planet called Guinea Prime. Anyways, the Emperor, jealous of Duke Leto's popularity, ends up arranging for them to end up ruling these houses. Now, this house ends up going to this planet, and Duke Leto knows that it's a trap. His son is a female Bene Gesserit, Paul. He has vision. And Duke Leto is trying to teach him how to be a good duke with his advisors. Like I said, it would take me about 4 hours to explain everything. That's why I'm doing it in broad strokes. I'm giving you a taste, because I actually want to cover book by book by book. And each book is a little long. Some of them are short, but they're wonderful reads. So, in this book, the Duke goes over and he tries to get this planet together because the Harkonnens basically ran it on the ground. There's a desert people called the Furmen. The Furmen know all. They're the ones that actually know where all the spice bros are. They live in the desert. What they do is they have these steel suits where they recycle their own water. Now, one of the things the Furmen like doing, and I find this fascinating, is when they kill someone, they take their water. And they spread it out through the family. Now, Leto tries to make, inroads with them. But before that happens, Leto gets attacked, betrayed by one of his own, Dr. Jung, and ends up getting murdered. Paul and his mother are sent out to the desert. And they find the Furman. And Paul ends up becoming their leader. There was a legend that was spread out. See, the Bene Gesserit were really good about manipulating religion. So a long time ago, they sent Bene Gesserits that they are amongst the Furman known as Sayadea. And these women talked about a prophecy of the Mahdi, the one that would lead the Furman to true freedom, and water again would flow in Arrakis. Paul becomes the Mahdi, and he leads raids against the Furman and begins crushing them bit by bit, taking back Arrakis and challenging the Baron's son to a knife fight. Well, actually, he makes the mistake of challenging Paul, but anyways, Paul kills this guy, and Paul takes his seat as the emperor of this vast kingdom. And this is just broad strokes. I mean, there is so much to touch on this book, and that's just book one. I could sit here for 2-3 hours talking about this book, the characters, the movies. Now, Dune 84, if you watch the documentaries on it, was a big debacle. I thought it was okay. Sting is actually in it, and Patrick Stewart. There's a lot of notable people in it, but there's a lot of production problems, script problems, this and that. So, but my favorite is the sci-fi one, which I will religiously talk about because it was just covered so beautifully. The new one actually isn't that bad. It isn't that bad. I like it. I just don't like the fact that they split it up into part 1 and part 2, because usually that means they don't make the sequels. So we have Dune 1 and Dune 2, which should all be Dune 1, but at any rate, I recommend picking up the books. His son actually carried on the books after Frank passed away. His son and Kevin J. Anderson. Wonderful writers. So, I actually do recommend starting with his son's books. House Atreides, House Harkonnen, House Carino, and then work your way up to Frank's work. There's actually a very romantic story. You see, when his wife passed away, he died shortly thereafter. But the letters, the notes, were found by his son. There's over 1,000 pages of notes, poetry, things that he wrote for Dune. So they carried on the work. And it's wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful to read everything about it. Oh, yes, even before House Atreides, there's actually the Machine Crusades. I'd start with those. Sorry about that. I just get so caught up in House Atreides because it's one of my favorite books. The Machine Crusades actually go way back. Almost 10,000 years before Dune. So this book spans thousands of years. Thousands. Wonderful books. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into all of them. And like I said, check out Dune. I check out the sci-fi ones because they did do the sequels. They did do Messiah and Children of Dune. They actually combined Messiah and Children of Dune into basically one, which actually wasn't that bad. At least they covered part 1 and part 2, so I'm not complaining about that shit. So, recommend Dune. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into them. And if you guys are interested, hit me up in the comments. I've been hearing some buzz about the Terminator one, so I probably will be covering part 1. Just letting you know. This is Zafa Slater. Oh, you know the last name. Oh, and we will be discussing Gotham a bit more. Gotham Knights. Just so you know. Because I actually enjoy those. So, this is Zafa Slater signing off.